Hi Artem, I'm very happy to see that you sent us another set of essays. Let's take a look at this. It's a letter to your friend, so let's see what you had to say here. Dear Ben, I hope this letter finds you well, not your. As you know, I resigned from my old job in Manchester, and now I live and work in the city of London. I didn't get any increase in salary, to be honest. It is even 5% less than previous one, but I always dreamed about working in such hustle and bustle place, so my dream comes true. All right, well, some of this is a little awkward. Okay, so the idea here is you're supposed to write your friend who you haven't written in a while, and you're supposed to basically tell him your news. So I really would have liked to see some things a little differently here. Dear friend, I hope this letter finds you well. We haven't spoken for a while, but I have a number of new updates to tell you about. Okay, so make that link clear. And then, I resigned from my old job in Manchester, and now I live and work in the city of London. I didn't get an increase in salary, and here you really needed a semicolon. To be honest, comma, it is even 5% less than my previous salary, but I always dreamed about working in the hustle and bustle of London, so my dream has come true. Okay, so you can see that I had to correct quite a bit here, primarily grammar and a little bit cohesion to make sure that your sentences and your ideas were linked a little better, okay? My job is approximately the same as in Manchester. I am a data scientist in a bank trying to build score models to predict probability of default for retail customers. However, everything is much more serious here. The volume of here you need something else, not a comma. A semicolon would have been nice. So the volume of assets is 100 times more there, and I feel strong responsibility because of it. Also, my current bank is at the cutting edge of technology, so I hope to get really good experience here. In addition, Lucy has found a job in London too, so we rent an apartment together, and even wanted to get engaged with a D next month. By the way, I hope to see you as our guest when you no, let's fix this. And this was a little strange. I hope to see you as our guest. We even wanted to get engaged next month. How about this? The next time you are in London, I hope you can be our guest. All right, that's a better way to express this. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, Andrew. All right, that's fine. So as you could see, there were quite a few things I had to change in terms of word order and syntax, and it was primarily that kind of stuff. The content of the letter was fine. All that was well controlled. I liked your paragraphing, so none of that created an issue, but the grammar was a little bit of a problem in some of these places. Okay, Artem? So let's take a look now at this task 2 about travel. Here's what you said. Experts throughout both the developing and developed worlds have debated about the increase in the amount of journeys by the different modes of transport. You meant modes, M-O-D-E-S. Have debated about the... Okay, what do you mean they've debated? What have they debated precisely? All right, it's a little vague. And the way you phrased it is it's as if some people are saying, no, there's no increase in journeys, and then other people are saying, oh, but there is an increase in journeys. So be careful with this expression, debated about the increase. All right, because that's not really what they're debating. That's not what they're supposed to be debating. They're supposed to be debating whether it's positive or whether it's negative. So you needed to rephrase this sentence a little bit, okay? Some people believe that it is a positive tendency, whereas others think that there are many disadvantages. While both standpoints are valued, I personally support positives of traveling more. Okay, fine. You didn't even need to include this because they didn't ask you for your opinion. So when they don't ask you for your opinion, you can simply leave it until the end of the essay. So let's take a look at what you wrote in your body paragraphs now. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that traveling could significantly harm the environment. This is largely because all modern kinds of transport, and especially air transport, produce a lot of greenhouse gases that could be very negative for nature. For example, recent empirical research by Greenpeace demonstrated that transport is responsible for 65% of the overall pollution of greenhouse gases. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that the huge amount of traveling could produce a lot of problems. All right, let's move on. On the other hand, it should be taken into account that the tourism industry, driven by traveling, gives us, here, because it's tourism industry, gives jobs for many people across the globe. The central reason behind this is the impossibility to provide people with traditional jobs in secluded areas, while these areas are natural tourist attractions. All right, that's a little strange. I don't really know what it means. You said that tourism is an opportunity for people to have jobs. And then you're saying that it's a... I see what you mean. What you're trying... Okay, it's just phrased a little awkwardly. So let's see if we can do it a little differently so that it's more clear. Traveling gives jobs for many people across the globe. You know what? It's not a central example. It's not a central reason, rather. It's just a further example. So this is what you meant. For example, certain areas that are natural tourist attractions would not otherwise be able to provide people jobs. Okay, that's really what you're trying to say here, but you have to rephrase it so that your meaning is clear. For instance, an extensive study by the UN showed that the tourist industry creates 30% of jobs in developing countries. Okay, well, developing countries is not necessarily in secluded areas, so be careful with that. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that traveling can create a highly positive impact on the lives of many people. Okay. From the arguments and examples given, it can be clearly seen that advantages of travel outweigh, not overweight. Overweight is somebody who has too many kilos. Outweigh their disadvantages. It can be predicted that in the future, traveling will increasingly grow in importance. All right. So, now obviously I had to correct Artem a lot of grammar in this essay. There were a number of things that you saw me consistently correct. There were some areas that weren't particularly coherent, so that was a little bit of a problem. But let me tell you what for me is an even bigger problem than some of the grammar. The problem is with task achievement. Look at this. It says, advantages of traveling, disadvantages of traveling. So, obviously, plural, more than one advantage, more than one disadvantage. How many advantages and disadvantages did you talk about? In each paragraph, I spotted one. You said disadvantage, that travel harms the environment, and here advantage, it creates jobs. So clearly you're not talking about advantages and disadvantages, but one advantage, one disadvantage, and that's going to cost you in terms of your task achievement, okay? I really want you to be careful about this kind of thing. I know we've talked about it before in the past. You have to really make sure you've analyzed the question appropriately and understand exactly what they're asking you to talk about. In fact, I always suggest to students that it's a good idea to spend a few minutes, literally a few minutes, like 3, 4, reading the question over and over and making absolutely sure you understand the question. Maybe jot down some notes about it and how you plan to structure your essay based on what the topic is. All right, I want you to see you try to do that in your next set of essays. So go ahead and give it a shot, and I'll be here waiting. So good luck to you.